in 2020,
Life in 2020 in general.
which just means being at home a lot, as one does.
Being caged.
Ooh. It's not that kind of
Oh,
podcast,
no.
but it could be.
Hey guys, welcome to the Audacity. In this episode, we're talking about
Working from home, life in 2020, and RBG. Back at it again.
Hello,
everybody.
Hi, guys.
Thanks for joining us for the second episode.
Did you miss us?
I missed it.
I missed it immensely.
It was the longest week of my life just to wait until we could be together and record this again.
I know. We had so much fun recording the first episode.
Like every step of the way, preparing for it, recording it, editing it. I've probably listened to it a dozen times this week, trying to make sure it sounded nice.
Yeah.
And then you just heard it for the first time.
It was
like
amazing.
An hour ago.
It was amazing. Like I thought we were great, but not like, super fantastic. But when I heard it, it was like, shit, we're kind of good.
Yeah. Well, and there's that thing where like sometimes you'll hear your own voice and you'll be like, holy shit, is that me?
Yeah.
And I was kind of worried about that. I'm like, we're going to be each other's biggest critics.
Yeah.
But we kind of loved it.
Are we allowed to say it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Don't hate us for being narcissistic because we're just excited about this new hobby.
Exactly. And because we've been, building it up for like 3 years in our heads. And now that we finally did it, we're so excited.
Well, and hopefully you share our excitement. That would be awesome. But anyways, welcome to the second episode. We've got a lot of things to talk about today.
Very 2020 themed.
Absolutely.
Things.
Before we get into it, though, make sure you're following us online on all of our social media.
It's at audacity.fm, except for Twitter.
Somebody swooped in. So I guess there's an underscore there. But
yeah.
Even better, just find our link tree instead.
Yeah. And that'll be linked to our Instagram account. So
there you go.
And I mean, it's at the Audacity on Instagram, which already has the link tree, which already has all our links.
Boom.
We have it. We made it so easy for you.
Exactly. Because we also want to interact with you.
Yeah.
So on any of those platforms, send us a DM, talk to us, give us feedback.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll answer questions, or maybe you want to suggest a topic, or very soon you'll get to meet our guest stars as well.
Ooh, I'm excited about that.
Yeah. There's also this cool feature on Anchor, our podcast host, where you can leave us a voice memo.
That we could incorporate
and
that.
And we can, put it in the episode if you have a question or a comment or
any feedback, honestly.
Exactly. I mean, don't worry, we won't roast you unless it's bad. But we'll probably help answer something.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get into things now.
So
today we're talking about life in 2020.
Life in 2020 in general.
Which just means being at home a lot. As one does.
Being caged.
Ooh. It's not that kind of podcast.
No.
But it could be.
This got either too kinky or too political. Oh, yeah.
That's also 2020.
That's also 2020.
In a nutshell.
But anyway, how was your experience with the pandemic? And because we were in a very similar situation where we were both working during the pandemic, although in two different continents for the beginning of it.
Basically, yeah. I'll also start by saying, like, thankfully we've both been healthy the entire time.
Touch wood.
No matter anything we could complain about or worry about or stress, that's what matters only at the end of the day.
Genuinely. And even our loved ones were so blessed and lucky to...
Yeah, and not everyone has that fortune.
No,
so.
And we totally get it.
Yeah.
How hard it has been for everybody. But yeah, we definitely consider ourselves very, very lucky that we didn't have to be in that position.
Yeah, and I hope all of you beautiful people listening feel that as well.
Exactly. And are very safe and healthy and making the most of this time. Or even if you're not making the most of this time, at least safe and healthy and
But okay, disclaimer done. Let's complain now.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I was introduced to the coronavirus when I was leaving here. In January. I moved to New York to do an internship.
Yeah.
My first time there, I was super excited. I was working a real 9-to-5 job, very fancy schmancy. The first week, thank God I was out like touristing full time because I spent the next 3 months locked in my apartment.
Yeah.
And look, we've grown up on computers. We're not afraid of technology.
Yeah.
We're pretty capable of working from home, but it's still a big shift.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's what happened. I was suddenly doing my work from home, watching my coworkers kind of have to adjust to things that maybe they weren't comfortable with, because there's always some age differences or experience differences, but I'm actually super proud of them for overcoming.
Yeah. No, definitely.
I didn't mind it at all. I kind of loved it. No more commute, no more getting dressed up unless there was like an important video call. And New York was a crazy place to be, and then I was in California, and then California became a crazy place to be, because America's always a crazy fucking place to be.
Truly.
Tragically too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I escaped. I've come back here to Amsterdam, where I'm studying online now, which is also a whole new same thing. I'm watching these poor teachers have to try to adjust to something that they've never done before, some of them with a lot more grace than others.
I mean, that is a point of discussion, because you would expect for a university who has so much prestige and so much name to have their staff be trained even a little bit.
Yeah.
And I get it that there's time constraints and like you need the courses to be online like ASAP. I get it. But also like this is a new batch. Like you guys are a new batch.
That's my counterpoint to that. If this was their behavior in April, that would make sense.
Absolutely.
But I keep forgetting they actually finished. They had most of last semester online.
Yeah.
This is their second chance.
Exactly.
And there's still plenty of problems.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, I get the whole spiel of like the age difference and not being tech savvy. But I know that this is a very fixable problem. This isn't
true. Training or hiring or
absolutely.
It's not the tools. The tools are very, very simple to use. These Zoom is like working overtime to make their platform like as easy as it can be.
Exactly.
And it is for the right user.
Exactly. And we also know that training does not take, financial or that much of physical resources.
Right.
And it's a thing that can be done within a week. Because we have that experience with being trained.
At the university, they're training us all the time.
Exactly.
In our topic. So I think they can train themselves a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't mind it at the end of the day. I like online school. I don't have to go to class anymore. I mean, we still have, Zoom class, but I can just roll over out of bed. After I've, of course, done my full hair and outfit for the day. Because I haven't given up that much yet, but it just saves time, and I can get straight to reading after class. So I've actually been such a better student in this way. I almost hope, I know a lot of my classmates don't agree with me. I almost hope the second semester can be online too, because I just want to continue this. I have my rhythm now from home.
Yeah, and at this rate, I mean, with the rate of infections and with the rate of cases, I think it will be. It's a very pessimistic thing to say, but the government's not optimistic on this. The people are really not complying at this point. The cases are just soaring. So,
and this might not be the most general analysis of most countries, but I kind of think here in this case that's the case in most of Western Europe, at least I think it's the case. In America, it's definitely even worse the case.
Yeah. I mean, back home in Nepal, I mean, I don't even want to get started on that, to be very honest with you.
Well, yeah. Stuff at home is...
Yeah.
We're grateful to be here. Let's just leave it at that.
Let's just leave it at that. In some aspects. I mean, of course, we'd rather be with our families. Yeah. Especially during a bloody pandemic.
I I had planned to spend 3 weeks with them, and I ended up being there for 3 months.
Yeah.
And it was terrific. Like I love my family, as you know. We had just a good time hanging out and like being together. And sure, I miss them now, and I miss that I probably won't get to visit them for a while because of this. But I'm happy to be back here where there's a bit more sanity.
Absolutely.
In the world.
Yeah.
It is also a hard adjustment, you know.
Yeah.
I was telling you, coming back from the airport, I have not seen like the lower half of a person's face since February. And here people are like not wearing masks and going out to restaurants completely almost normal.
It's gotten to a point where it's too close to normal, I would say.
Yeah, if you're not reminded and you don't think about it, you can pretend it's normal.
It's normal. I genuinely forgot about
And that was a rough transition to come back to.
No, like a few days ago, I genuinely forgot about the Rona because people here are so nonchalant about it, which is not how you behave during a pandemic as a human being, I'd say.
It's Dutch pragmatism.
I don't know.
They're efficient even with their fear.
That's a good one. No, but I genuinely forgot. And then like I was doing something and I was like going to sign up for something. And I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. And then I was like, wait, the Rona, like we're in the middle of a fucking pandemic. I can't do that.
Yeah.
And then I felt so guilty for forgetting that it exists. And I don't and I don't even commute to work. I don't even I work from home. I'm not, clubbing every week. I'm not doing anything that I would do in my, like, let's say, quote unquote, normal life. But still, I forgot about it because people here are so under panicked.
Yeah. But it comes back to technically the situation with the cases and the statistics and the medicine behind it. Maybe it's appropriately panicked.
I don't know. I mean,
to us, it looks calm, which is not what you want to see, I guess. When you're so stressed, I kind of want everyone to look stressed.
Oh my God, this can be a lesson in like therapy.
Maybe we just need to calm down because I feel guilty too going out to things. I want to meet my new classmates. I want to go back to parties. I want to go on dates, but I always feel a bit naughty.
I feel very guilty.
Yeah.
I genuinely do. Like if I go out in a week, like out of the house, that is like twice a week, I'm like, fuck. Like, no. I shouldn't be doing this.
I mean, look, you were on your way here today and I'm like, I think I have a slight tickle in my throat. Are you willing to risk your life to film this episode? I need to be full disclosure.
Full disclosure.
I'm not going to be that person.
But I'm grateful that you did that as a very true friend of mine. I expect you to do that.
I can't kill my co-host before the second episode.
I'm just gonna do touch wood for a good measure because I'm very superstitious. Oh, that's actually a good episode topic for another episode is superstitions and signs.
Stop. Anyway. But so you're working from home too?
Yes.
And your switch has been different than mine.
Absolutely. So I work at the same place that I did my internship from. So I did like kind of half of my internship working from home, and then I worked from home after my internship. So finishing up school and doing basically just doing my job. And it's been, I don't know, it's been in my head, it's been very chaotic because working from home kind of stresses me out. Because for me personally, there's no demarcation between personal life and professional life because you're in the same apartment, you're in the same house, and you're working for 8 hours.
Right.
Even after you close the laptop or your computer, your mind is not there yet. It doesn't switch yet.
It's hard. Our little human brains are not nearly evolved to deal with this.
No.
And you haven't had a vacation this year. You've been in that situation the whole time.
Absolutely. I submitted my thesis on like the 20-something of June. I had a break for about a week until I got my grades back from thesis. And on 1st of July, I started work. So I had absolutely no vacation in between, which kind of I don't know. I'm shocked at my capability to run like a machine. But also I know that this just means
But
like
for how long?
Yeah.
How sustainable is that?
Exactly.
Are you more productive or are you just working more?
I would say bit of both.
Yeah.
Which is fine, I guess, in a sense, but I can't switch it off. There's no boundaries. Like at dinner, I'm just checking. I'm like, one last look at my email, like one last, like just maybe this is a tiny email that I can reply to via my phone and I don't have to.
And I feel like a lot of people are in that situation.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does the pressure come from within or from like the culture of your company or?
My culture of my company? Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, because they're very, I think, there's no culture of silence. Like if you feel pressure, just, say it to someone. But I think it's from within because, I mean, I'm in the beginning of my career. If I don't do it now, I'm not going to like be able to do it in my 40s, obviously.
True.
So might as well just milk this machine, right?
It brings in so many elements too of like how you treat workers and how do you feel about capitalism right now and how do you deal with, and in grad school this is literally what we're researching right now. What are the communication impacts of people having no more working hours, working on the couch or in bed,
exactly,
working on their personal devices, not every company can provide equipment, then the boundaries are blurred and that has impacts on your social life, on your mental health, on your stress levels. Phew.
And I think even in professional social life, because I myself know that companies are making an effort to over communicate because you don't have that personal face-to-face time anymore. So now there's an increase in internal campaigns and like, I don't know, weekly newsletters and stuff like that. And they're just overdoing it because you're like, oh, we can't lose touch even though you're working from home. Like we're here. We get it.
Yeah, but like, trust me, I'm not out of touch. I've got more work to do than ever before.
Yeah, exactly. My point was, is that efficient in like a big picture perspective? I get it. I get how important, employee engagement is and how important it is for employees to have trust in their organization, which is great and all, especially in this economy. Which, I mean, I absolutely appreciate it.
Yeah.
But is it the most efficient way to do it?
I don't know. But some companies are really not that, woke about it. So they're like really not taking care of their employees right now. And that's got to be terrifying.
Yeah. That, I think we see it in most commercial businesses.
I think so too.
That is just, I think people are
like, there's quite a beauty to like adopting a new approach to working.
Absolutely.
Working from home can be great. It has so many advantages. It also has a lot of downsides.
Yeah.
And the role of an organization is to kind of guide people through that.
Yeah.
Which sounds like yours is trying to do.
Absolutely. No.
In these unprecedented times.
Call back to our previous episode. No, but I absolutely appreciate my work's effort into whatever they're doing right now. They've definitely evolved in how to work in this situation, which I very much appreciate. I feel like the only way you can survive anything is to evolve and not be rigid in your ways. That I can't see is applicable to every business that we know, and especially the businesses we physically see around us. Yeah.
It will be really interesting, one, to see how long does this go on for.
Yeah.
I mean, some companies have said you'll never have to come back. You can keep working from home for forever. A lot of like Silicon Valley tech companies.
Yeah.
But I think other companies too, maybe are finally getting the little kick in the butt to realize like a really old-fashioned office culture doesn't work today anymore. There's too much going on.
There's too much going on. And if you're not connected, then you're absolutely ostracized.
Yes. And if you're over-connected, you're going to burn out.
You're going to burn out.
This is really the job of communications experts to
I
figure out.
I was going to say exactly the same thing. This is the essence of what we studied.
If you or your company is struggling to find a proper balance for your employees, please hire the services of Mark and Shar.
Call this toll-free number.
Communication consultants will help you find the right balance for your workplace policies.
Yeah. Oh.
Research driven.
Love that.
Yeah. No, it will be interesting to study. It will be interesting to see the effects. I think people already feel the stress effects. But there's a lot more complex things happening cognitively and socially and
and I think that is what affects us socially and cognitively is that everything that we know as social is completely changed.
Absolutely. And that comes straight back to the little caveman brain can't understand that yet.
We cannot figure it out, which this is a question that I've been actually wondering about a lot. So since our social life has been so like turned upside down, or I wouldn't even say turned upside down, this is a whole new dimension.
Sure. Yeah.
We don't know what socializing right now looks like properly. And most of our social life is on our phones.
Yes.
Social media.
Yeah.
And the likes. So does that mean that our usage of social media and how we are in that environment, will that affect organizational policies and the way they work? Will work culture be affected? Because that's the society, quote unquote, that they are referring to for like, feedback, for
gratification, connection, really urgent, important communication, and just really trivial gossip communication. It's interesting. Well, there's this, I'm not going to get too much into this study, but there's this idea that like people in our generation who, I didn't have an iPad in my lap as a baby, but I definitely grew up doing my homework online. So kind of that in between. We keep these communication boundaries very rigid of what's social and what's work.
Yeah.
I think people growing up today won't have that at all. It's just life digitally.
Yeah.
No boundaries. And those boundaries kind of help you make sense of where you're at and what your place is, but they can also be quite restrictive and lead to so many conflicts of, should I work right now or should I be home right now?
Yeah. That's actually like, to me as a person, as a cusp baby who didn't have, like you said, an iPad on our laps growing up.
Yeah, my stroller didn't have Bluetooth.
That is very scary for me, personally.
Yeah.
But maybe that is not such a bad thing either. Maybe no,
not at all. Exactly.
Yeah. Maybe we're just, grandparents who just discovered color TV and we're like, no, this is evil.
I was thinking, imagine if this pandemic hit in the 90s without no phones, no video calls.
We would be the second baby boomer generation.
I mean, they'd send you home to work and you would have to mail a letter. I think they had email in the 90s though. Maybe the 80s is what I meant. Can you imagine? You'd have to go to your coworker's house and just put a printout of your PowerPoint against their window.
Imagine you forget to highlight one point with your physical highlighter. And
oh my God.
And your boss is like, this is not done.
No. We'd have to use a little, I'm thinking of a rotary phone, but I know they had cell phones in the 80s, but you'd have to get out the telegram just so I could go to my lecture.
Yeah. Did they have fax systems?
I think they did.
Then that would be overworked. That would be so overworked.
Oh my God.
Because everything was paper.
Right?
But that's bizarre. That's absolutely...
What a plot of a freaky movie, though. I would watch that.
I would watch that.
You just want to gossip with your coworkers, you have to fax them something. Did you hear what Janice is doing in accounting this week from home?
Oh my goodness. We are definitely collecting royalty for that. So whoever is making that movie...
Copyright.
Right here. No, but imagine, because that's our parents' generation.
Yes.
They grew up in the 70s and 80s.
Yes.
Imagine how different they would turn out to be. I cannot imagine.
Right. And they're having to go through this too, just like we are right now.
Yeah.
But everyone has a different reference frame for how to handle it.
Yeah. So talking about weird things. I mean, 2020 itself has been very weird.
Definitely.
And the pandemic is this overarching weird theme, I'd say. Weird, downplaying it.
Yes.
But there have been other absurd things happening in 2020. And I think the pandemic has not really let us concentrate on that. And we're just letting it go. We're writing it off. We look at them as if they're Twitter updates,
Well, and very soon that will become the election that's, taking everything else out of out of the news cycle.
Exactly. And and it's been, with weird, it's also been very unfortunate.
Yeah.
And one of the most unfortunate events of this week was the passing of the notorious RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yes. Huge loss.
Huge loss.
Not just for Americans, but for a lot of people, actually.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, just to set it up, if you don't know who Ruth Bader Ginsburg is, which I think most people do because she is so notorious. That's her tagline.
Exactly.
I mean, she was born in 1933.
Yeah.
Before the war, a whole different world.
A decade before the war.
Grew up in Brooklyn. Always wanted to be a judge, a lawyer. And she's had this incredible career of, being a teacher, a mother, a circuit judge, and then being only the second woman ever appointed to the Supreme Court.
Which is absurd.
In 1993. Yeah.
Like, it took until the 90s to have the second woman.
Exactly.
In the Supreme Court, that is.
One of her quotes, I think, when someone said, "When will there be enough women on the Supreme Court?" And she said, I'm not quoting exactly, but it was like, well, there's been 9 men forever. So when there's 9 women and no one has anything to say about it, that will be when.
Iconic. Overall, iconic woman.
Yeah. That's just a perspective for how to see the world and to see differences. And that was really what a lot of her legal career was about, fighting, especially for sex discrimination and women's rights, but also other minority groups.
She helped whatever little existing laws we have in the favor of minority groups and women, like you said.
And here you say the word "we."
Yeah.
I mean, this is an American political issue, but I mean, a lot of international people probably understand American politics better than Americans do, but that's just a consequence of our bad education.
Yeah.
But the president of the United States doesn't have complete authority and power over everything. I mean, he's kept in check by Congress, but also the Supreme Court, which really is there to say, hey, this is legal and this is not, based on that Constitution that we like to talk about all the time. So that's been her job for the last 27 years, is upholding the correct way to interpret that document.
Yeah.
And now there's an empty seat on the Supreme Court, which the president is tasked to fill, and that's the crisis really of this week.
Of this week, and her dying wish. That it wouldn't be the next justice wouldn't be elected until the next president is elected. Yes. And by next, I mean, and we hope new.
Yes, we don't think she meant until after the election. We think she meant the next president. A different one.
Yeah, a different one.
That's the grace of this woman. Like, that's the most pointed way she could say it, but that she would say it. But she definitely did. And to have that be what's taking up your thoughts on your last, dying wish says a lot about how committed she was to, like, American people.
Yeah. But also the pressure. Imagine. Yeah. This just goes to show that when bureaucrats or people in position of power, when they actually perform their job well, and not even exceedingly well, not to diminish whatever she's done. I mean, she's an amazing woman, and
but you're right that she's popular because she's done good work. Shouldn't there be more politicians like that?
Exactly.
More bureaucrats.
Yeah, which just goes to show what thin, fragile string democracy is hanging on, and it's just not American politics that we're talking about. I also refer it to back home. I mean, I have much less knowledge, and that is because of my ignorance and, again, privilege, I would say, of Nepali politics, and I'm very shameful about it. I should be learning more about it, but even there, like, the most recent example would be, I mean, this might be a little controversial to say, but so giving a bit of backstory or context to the audience. We had a lot of load shedding, which means power cuts back home. So during like the 2010s and stuff like that, like we wouldn't have electricity for 8-9 hours a day, which is insane. People who could afford generators, inverters, they did, but most of them were living, most of our Nepali population was living in darkness. Businesses were affected, obviously, until the new chief of Nepal Electricity Association. I think that's the full form of it. NEA was elected. And then we didn't have power cuts at all. And he was like, this was feasible. It's just that it wasn't done.
Yeah.
And now his term is over. And people want him to be reelected, which is a great thing and all. But then it just goes to show, why can't anyone who takes his position also do the same thing? Why are we relying on a single person? Why are we then idolizing them to do their jobs? I mean, of course, he did a terrific job. Congratulations to him and congratulations to us. But
it's sad that, it's politics in that way becomes such a celebrity sport.
Right? Like...
But I mean, this woman deserves celebrity credit, just like I'm sure that electricity man does too.
He does.
And I'm happy to give it to them, but
like, just think about it. If there were good people doing, okay, let's not even say good people. There were responsible people who did their jobs well. Yeah. Let's say 80 years ago. 80 years fast forward today, that wouldn't be a big deal because it would be like, oh, they just did their job. Right. They followed the law. They weren't corrupt. They gave what the citizens wanted. But isn't that what democracy is?
That's what it should be. That's what she worked for throughout her career.
Exactly.
Which is she's been my idol for a long time.
Yeah.
This is why this is really sad news.
Absolutely devastating.
And of course, hopefully, it doesn't become more sad with Trump trying to replace her. That would actually. Sorry for the buzzword, that would be very unprecedented to replace, to fill her seat before the election.
Yeah. But I mean,
not just because it defies her wishes, but just because that's not the custom of what happens.
Yeah. But I mean, can we expect that?
I don't know, because all you can expect out of him is evil. And this would fit his brand so well. If he knows he's going to lose the election, if this is his last fuck you, then I could see him doing that. And God forbid he wins, then this is really just the next step.
Yeah.
In his torment. Yeah.
In his quote unquote dictatorship.
And I don't, this is of course something people could protest about and complain about, but he has the power to do it. And unfortunately, if the Senate will let him do it, it could happen.
It could happen. And that's terrifying because it affects, I think this is like a domino effect. It affects not just America. It affects, I think, every nation after that.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, and a lot of her decisions over her career were focused on international relations and policy and things America could and couldn't do around the world.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's a long list Trump has of people who would want to undo some of that work for his gain that he could replace her seat with.
Absolutely.
And that just, that makes it dangerous for more things that could come. And just the more you change what America is,
the more I think
the further you stray from like the purpose of doing good, which if we have to look at the last 4 years, it's just been tiny, slow, subtle changes that are just kind of eroding our sense of this is normal or this is okay.
Yeah.
And then we become so desensitized to it.
Exactly.
And that's the grand scheme of his persuasive appeal on people.
Yeah. And
on vulnerable people.
Exactly. And that's what's horrifying is because people think that does not affect. So international people especially think that does not affect them or their society, whatever America's doing. But the thing is, America has placed itself in the center of everything we consume.
Yes, both politically, just because that's how history's played out, but especially media focused.
Exactly. Everything we consume is American. Majority of it is American, or is derived from American culture in some way. So to think that it doesn't affect us, I think that would be to be, again, living in denial.
Absolutely. Scary.
Very.
There's a hope, though, of course.
Of course.
There's a lot of hope. There's a simple solution to secure that hope, which is to vote.
Yes. If any of our American audience is listening.
American audience, vote. We need you to. She would want you to.
Please vote. Please be responsible.
I'm going to be more specific here. Vote for Joseph Biden.
Joseph Biden.
Joseph Biden for the president of the United States of America.
Please.
That's what she wants. That's what she needs.
Yeah.
And international people, encourage your American network to do so.
Please. There are ways to vote not in person too. There are ways to do, I think, early ballot.
Yes, absolutely. Correct. I mean, it's so different by states and, depends how the post office can handle things, which is a different topic.
But it's things you can figure out.
Absolutely.
It's a quick Google search away.
Yeah. So if you're able to vote, you must.
You must.
Young people, this is your chance. I'm kind of tired of that poor reputation we have for not turning out.
Yeah, because again,
millennials.
But also this goes back to how much privilege we have, and then how we can afford to be ignorant.
Yeah.
And how we live in this delusion, thinking that one person doesn't make a difference, but it does.
I hope some of these Gen Zers are able to vote now, and they're ready to do it. And I think they'll be on the right side of it.
2000 to 2002 babies can vote already.
It's your turn.
It's your turn.
It's your turn, babies.
It's your chance.
Come through for Ruth.
And yes, Joe Biden isn't perfect. He's not flawless.
Absolutely.
He's not.
Absolutely. But wouldn't you want to spend the next 4 years making fun of his flaws than the alternative?
Absolutely. I'd rather...
And don't pretend there's somehow a different option. Those are the only two options.
Only two options.
That's it.
There's a very good analogy, and I saw a video about it.
What?
About how... So when the protest was going on, and it was getting violent because of the police, Joe Biden made a comment saying the police shouldn't be attacking the protesters and shooting them in their chest.
Yeah.
But maybe shooting them on their legs.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Which is, I mean, as a presidential candidate to say that, I mean, that is... humorous, to put it lightly, but that is also very problematic. But think of it this way.
Okay.
Voting for Trump is like getting shot on the chest. You will die.
Yeah.
You will. There is very minute chances of you surviving.
Well, and he'll pull the fucking trigger.
It'll be, point blank. You're done.
Boom.
Boom.
Uh-huh.
But if you vote for Joe Biden, you might get shot on the leg. Absolutely. You might be
definitely.
You'll have a limp. You'll have a limp, maybe.
You might get a cast.
People
will sign it.
But you're not dead.
Boom. There you go.
You're still alive. You're still functioning. You're still legible to hold a job, a contract.
Yes.
You can buy a house.
Yeah, there you go. Dead people can't do that. Okay, so... moral of the story, moral of the analogy is we've lost like a wonderful leader this week.
Absolutely.
It's, very sad. But she left you with a final instruction and a final task, which we'll repeat for like the 5th time now. Vote, 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 and vote for Joe Biden.
Vote for Joe Biden. Because
that's the only way you can honor her, is electing a president that will hopefully give us a better chance of replacing her seat with someone worthy.
Yes. And especially...
the opposite case will not happen.
There's no chance. Zero chance.
If you want to honor this woman, make sure her seat gets filled with someone worthy.
Yeah.
Ergo, vote for Joe Biden. That's it.
That's it.
Simple.
And here's to no more googlies and curveballs thrown by 2020. As we approach the end of this year.
Knock on wood. This could,
knock on wood.
Let's wrap things up soon, please, 2020.
Genuinely, we're so tired. We're so tired.
Right? There's plenty of other things we can talk about. I won't miss the chaos. I won't miss the unprecedentedness. Anyways, if you share those beliefs...
and if you found this interesting... then follow us on social media.
Absolutely.
Rate us. Rate this podcast.
Please, on whatever podcast app you're listening to, find a way to give us a 5-star review and leave some comments and feedback. Will help us trick the algorithm into promoting our show.
Exactly. And we
want your feedback too.
Yes. Share this with your friends. Share this with your enemies. I mean, they could learn a thing or two too,
Definitely. And like we said in the beginning, find us somewhere online, send us some DMs, send us some questions or some things you want advice about. And
it's at the Audacity.fm on everything except Twitter. But yeah, that's it for today, guys.
Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it.
We've enjoyed it.
Definitely. We will see you again later on. We're talking about some saucy topics next time, right? What are we going to talk about?
Dating. Love lives. Relationships.
Ooh. We're going to get into it.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.